I'm Stan Mercer. I'm co-owner of Red Feather Archery, and going to show you today how I sharpen our new Phoenix broadhead. It's a single beveled, three-bladed broadhead, and I'll show you how to sharpen it with a file, and then also I'll show you a jig that I built and a way that you can get it if you want the smooth type of sharp edge. You can get that with the stone. And I've got a jig, makes it real simple, works off that Lansky style system or the KME rod and stone style of system. So let me grab a broadhead and get this camera focused in on a bench vise, and I'll show you how I do this. Okay, this is how I go about sharpening these. What I'm going to show you is how I sharpen them with a file. Gets a nice file sharpened edge on it. It's actually a huntable sharp. This is how I'm going to send them out in the packaging. I also have a jig that I built. It's a simple jig to build that will allow you to use a KME style rod and stone to put a nice honed edge on it. If that's your preference, you can use a stone and get a real sharp edge on these as well. This is how the broadheads come to me. I don't know if that shows up as well as I'd like it to, but they are Teflon coated in a red Teflon. The Teflon coaters coat the whole thing. So first thing we need to do is get that Teflon off and establish the edge. And what I do is I just use a machinist vise, and I use it's just a piece of cardstock folded up to protect the blade a little bit. And I set the blade into the vise, put one of the blades down, leave two of them up, and get that nice and secure. And then the key to this is when you sharpen a double bevel three-bladed head, you sharpen two blades at once, and we only want to sharpen one blade. And to do that and find the correct angle, you can just lay your file right on top of the broadhead, and that establishes what it would be if we were going to do a double bevel. And with the single bevel, here's the key. You want to tilt this at about a 4-degree angle. And then the key to getting anything sharp is just maintain consistency as you do that. So what I like to do is establish some place with my fingers on the vise that'll allow me to maintain consistency, keep your elbows close to your body, and then just run this consistently back and forth right down the edge. Now initially it takes a few strokes to get that Teflon off, and now I'm actually cutting into the metal, and I'm going to go ahead and establish a burr on the offside. And really that's all sharpening is. You got to establish a burr on the offside, and then you take that off really gently. The first thing I do is I get the aggressive file that I have here. This is a 10-inch mill bastard file, and I'm going to go after it pressing pretty hard, taking that material off and getting that edge down to where I can get a burr on the back of it. I don't have it there yet. It doesn't take real long to sharpen these. It'll take even less once you get them, because this will already be done. And there I'm starting to get a burr on that side. So then I switch and I go to a smaller file. This is just a little smoother cut. And again, I'm going to establish that bevel. And with this one, I'm going to take out any of those marks, and then I start to go a lot lighter. And that's one of the keys to getting things real sharp. Lighten up those strokes a little bit. And another thing that I use, let me grab the camera here, just to help me, is if you get a good light source, hopefully this shows up on video, if you can get the light source to reflect off your edge, you should be able to see all of that edge in one plane. And so you shouldn't have light showing up in some parts of the blade and not others. The whole light source should reflect. If that edge is flat, meaning you've maintained a consistent angle, you'll see that reflected in the light. Set this thing back up, hopefully where we want it to be. Yeah, there we go. Now to make that edge, just make sure that you don't, as you're rolling this file down, don't roll your file as you go. You got to maintain a really consistent edge all the way through. It's why I try to keep my elbows in close to my body. It helps me keep that edge. You don't want to roll it. You also don't want to hit it once at this angle, second time a little bit different angle, coming in at it at different angles. You just got to maintain that consistency. And as you get towards the end, it's really important that you just put really light pressure on the file. And then what will happen is, on the back side there, you'll pick up a burr. When you've got that burr on the back side of the head, that's when you want to come in here and with a real light stroke, you take that burr off. And what you'll have is a very sharp, already very sharp edge that's a filed edge. A lot of people prefer that for hunting. It's a sharp edge. Let me see if I can't get something to show you. Move this camera back. Show you how sharp that edge can be. Here's a sheet of paper. I don't know. There's a lot of different tests for sharpness. This is a pretty simple one with real light pressure. Just run that down and you can see cuts a piece of paper. No way for me to show you how lightly I'm pressing on this, but it's just real light pressure and it cuts a piece of paper real simple. Easy thing to do. I've shaved most of the hair off my arm sharpening these things today. Or I'd show you that too. Just don't have much left. As far as a file sharpened edge goes, really that's all there is to it. And if you can keep your file consistent, lighten the pressure on it as you go, and then take that burr off going the opposite way on the other side, you'll be able to find that you get this real sharp. It's a great head. The angle is at 34 degrees, which is different than most three-bladed fixed broadheads. They sharpen at 60 degrees, so we've got it a little bit sharper than what you normally see. These are made out of 41L40 tool grade steel. They're heat treated to 50 Rockwell. That's a great hardness for being able to apply a file to a head and to put a good edge on it, and also hard enough to maintain the edge that it's got. All you'd need to do to finish this one out is to hit the other two blades and you're ready to go kill a moose. So with regards to initial sharpening, this is how I do it. For a lot of people, that's just a real good edge. That's how the broadheads are packaged and shipped, and they're ready to go. If you want to shoot them that way, you could hunt with this head today. If you want to put a nice honed edge on it, you can do that with the stone. I've got a jig that you can build real simple and do that yourself. If you would rather put it on a stone, let me grab just a bench stone here. Get this back far enough that you can see. You can do the same thing. If you've got one of these, this is a water stone, and I don't have it wet because it's not the way I sharpen these, but you can lay that down, tilt it those 4 degrees just to clear that back edge. You could run the file or the broadhead down the stone like that too and get a really sharp edge. Might have a little bit of hair left on my arm if you want to see. I don't know if you can see all that hair just popping off my arm, but let me see if you can see that or not. Probably getting into the light, but it's really simple to shave. Not a hard head at all to get shaving sharp. And those hairs are just popping off of my hand there. Really simple thing to get sharp. Trying to get that in front of the camera for you. Anyway, easy thing to do if that's your preference, to go with an edge sharpened that's honed like that. By all means do it. Highly recommend that you shoot these before you hunt with them. I would say that regardless of the head that you use. Make sure that your setup's tuned well, your bow's tuned well. There's great information on the internet about that. Pro shops are wonderful about helping you get your setup tuned so that you can shoot any kind of broadhead. Fixed blade, mechanical, it doesn't matter. Please make sure that you tune your setup really well before you go hunting and shoot these ones. You can see that they're pretty simple to sharpen. shoot them before you go tune them, before you go hunt with them.